Now let's go to the paragraphs 5 and 6 where Satyajit Ray is talking about more films in Hollywood which made use of animals and birds. Let's read paragraph number 5. Every animal in Hollywood film is well trained. It is not difficult to train a horse or a dog. But have you ever heard of trained ravens? Not just one or two, but nearly 100 of them. Even this was made possible in Hollywood. When the creator of some of the best suspense films in the history of cinema, Alfred Hitchcock, decided to make a film called Birds. But what was required in the largest number was ravens. Notices were placed in the press all over the United States asking people to contact the filmmaker if they knew how to get hold of trained ravens. Here, Satyajit Ray is talking about how Hollywood makes use of films with animals and birds. You have already seen the example of Rin Tin Tin and Lassie. Now, Satyajit Ray is talking about some Hollywood movies where animals and birds are used. He is talking about a very famous film called Birds by the famous film director Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock is noted for suspense films. He was a master of this art of making suspense films. And one film by Alfred Hitchcock is called Birds. And what is the story of this film, Birds? The story is like this. Because of some unknown reason, birds, different types of birds, started attacking human beings. Nobody knows why these birds started attacking the human beings. This is the story of that movie called Birds. And for most of the films I mentioned in this video, I will put the link to that video in the materials section of our channel, so you can watch these parts of these films. So what is the story of this film called Birds? Birds, different types of birds, started attacking human beings for an unknown reason. Can you imagine making such a film? What all things we need for making such a film? We need lots of birds. We make these birds attack human beings or act like attacking human beings, then coming in groups, all these things. Is it possible to shoot such a film? Yes. The famous filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock has made this possible in his film called Birds. How did he make it? How did he manage to shoot this film with birds? That is the speciality of Hollywood. Everything is possible. So many different varieties of films are there in Hollywood with animals and birds. The example that Satyajit Ray says here is Birds by Alfred Hitchcock. Now let's see how he shoot this film. Birds. How did he arrange hundreds of birds for shooting this film? And not just birds, he wanted to shoot this film with ravens. Now, what is a raven? Raven is a type of large crow. A large crow is called raven. And for shooting this film, he needs hundreds of ravens. Because he is such a master of making special movies, he was not ready to do any compromise. And what he did was, he gave an advertisement in the newspaper, and also he posted notices everywhere in the United States asking about if there is any person with some ravens with him, if there is any person who is having trained ravens, because he needs those ravens for shooting his film Birds. And so he announced this news everywhere, in the newspaper, in the notice board, everywhere. And one man responded to this advertisement, and he has got a collection of ravens with him, and those were trained ravens, and he can make them do some actions. You know, birds are not as intelligent as dogs. So anyway, this trainer who has got a good collection of ravens was able to make the ravens do one or two things, like instructing them to go and sit or perch on a tree. So the ravens will go and perch there on the tree. And he needs a lot of movement from the part of these birds for making this film, Birds. So he had to shoot different scenes in which these birds are coming in groups and attacking men, women, children, etc. So he, with the help of this trainer, he was able to complete that film. And even today, it is one of the best films in the world. So I'll give you a short video clipping of that in the material section in our channel. You have to check that, watch that scenes. And now let's see what is happening. Every animal, paragraph number 6. Someone replied within a few days. He was asked to bring his birds, and he arrived with almost 100 trained ravens. Admittedly, their training had not gone very bad. That is to say, they could not do anything that might be seen as extraordinary. But if as many as 50 ravens are told to perch quietly in a row on a specified spot. And if they obey this command instantly, isn't that pretty impressive? So, when he gave these advertisements, a person responded to the advertisement and he came to meet Alfred Hitchcock with his collection of ravens, birds. And these ravens are not very good in doing all the actions, but they could be made to perform few actions, some activities like perching, going and sitting there on the branch of a tree. If the trainer gives some order, some command, these birds will go and sit in one particular spot. So a few things he was able to make the birds do, and this helped Alfred Hitchcock to complete his film in which the birds play an important role. Okay, now let's see what is happening in the next paragraph number 7. Needless to say, in our own country, it is not at all easy to find trained animals. Although some films have been made in Bombay and Madras that involved working with elephants, horses, and tigers, their performance did suggest that they were used to obeying commands. In Bengal, it is sometimes possible to find clever dogs, particularly police dogs, which are quite intelligent if one is prepared to be patient. It is not altogether impossible to get good performances out of them, as we managed to do with Bhulo in Pather Panchali. Here, Satyajit Ray is coming to India about making films with animals. He was talking about Hollywood. Now he is coming to the Indian film making. He says that there are some films in which animals like elephants and dogs or tigers are acting, but only very few films are there in Indian languages. He says that he's a Bengali filmmaker. He wants to make a Bengali film, and he says that it was not possible to make a film with some animals because in Bengal you cannot get trained tigers. It is possible to get some trained dogs in Bengal, especially the police dogs are very intelligent and we can use them for the shooting purpose, and we can make them perform some actions. Dogs are very intelligent and friends of human beings. So he says that it was possible to get dogs but not tigers. He also tells us that in one of his films called Pather Panchali, he made a dog act in that film, and the name of that dog was Bhulo. So he says that it is possible to make a dog act in a film because they are very intelligent and also they are very friendly with human beings. And he talks about Bhulo, which is a dog acted in his film called Pather Panchali. Now let's go to the next paragraph, paragraph number 8. Yet a dog might be difficult, not impossible to handle. What was one supposed to do if there was need for a tiger in a film? We had to deal with this problem too, which, when we were shooting GoopyGyne Bhaga Byne in the film, Gooby, who is banished by the king, wanders in the forest, meets Bhaga, who is also been banished. They see a tiger and freeze, but the tiger simply walks about in the forest without paying them the slightest attention. Now, Satyajit Ray is talking about his actual project Tiger. He wants to shoot a film, and the name of the film is GoopyGyne Bhaga Byne. It's a Bengali film, and in this film the main characters are Gooby and Bhaga. GoopyGyne Bhaga Byne is the name of the film. And Gooby is a character who was banished from his kingdom. What do we mean by banished? The king ordered him not to come to that kingdom. He was forced to live outside the kingdom. He has no permission to come to this kingdom by the king. Because of doing something wrong, he was sent away from the kingdom. He was banished from the kingdom. And second character, Bhaga, was also in the same situation. He was also banished by the king. And Gooby, when he was sent away from the kingdom, he reached the forest. In the forest, he meets another man called Bhaga. Gooby meets Bhaga in the forest. And this is one scene in the film. And Satyajit Ray wants to shoot this scene with a tiger in it. When Gooby meets Bhaga, they become friends, and when they are talking, they saw a tiger. When these two friends were sitting under a tree, they saw a tiger coming out from the forest. These two characters, Gooby and Bhaga, are terrified or frightened to see the tiger. And these two friends, very much frightened, they stand there holding each other, very much frightened seeing the tiger. But the tiger did not come near to them. It just walked about the forest. This is the scene Satyajit Ray has in his mind for shooting. And the problem here is that Gooby and Bhaga is ready, and they can shoot the forest also. But from where can he get the tiger? That is the problem. From where can he get the tiger? He needs a tiger for this particular scene in the film GoopyGyne Bhaga Byne. there is nothing for the tiger to do here, because the tiger is just coming out from the forest and coming, just walking around the forest without attacking Gubi and Bhaga, just going back to the forest. This is the scene he wants to shoot for the film GoopyGyne Bhaga Byne, and he has got this plan in his mind. Now he needs a tiger. I told you in the beginning, in those days there were no animations or any such latest technologies, and so he was forced to use a real tiger. Our point is that what a dedicated film director is Satyajit Ray.